The man bought the house because it was cheap. It stood alone at the edge of a quiet valley, far from the noise of the city, no neighbors, no traffic, no voices. Only trees, hills, and a slow river nearby. People told him the place was strange. They said the land had been empty for too long. They said no one stayed there for more than a few months. The man did not listen. He wanted silence. After years of crowds, screens, and loud nights, silence felt like a reward. The house was old but strong. Its walls were thick, its roof heavy. The windows faced the river, which curved through the valley like a silver line. Fog often rested on the water, even during the day. On the first night, the house felt calm, too calm. The air inside was still, as if the walls were holding their breath. The man unpacked slowly. A table, a chair, a bed, and a small lamp. He did not need much. He cooked a simple meal and ate alone, listening to the sound of insects outside. That night, he slept deeply. But just before morning, something woke him. It was not a sound. It was a feeling, a quiet pressure, like someone watching from far away. He opened his eyes and stared at the ceiling. The room was dark. The house was silent. After a moment, the feeling faded. He told himself it was nothing. A new place always felt strange at first. The next day, he explored the land. Behind the house was a line of trees, tall and old, in front. The ground sloped down toward the river. The river was wider than he expected. The water moved slowly, smooth and dark. Mist rose from its surface even under the sun. He felt drawn to it, not afraid, just curious. He stood there for a long time, watching the water flow. For a moment, he thought he saw movement beneath the surface, a ripple that did not match the current. When he looked again, it was gone. That night, the lights flickered, only for a second. The man paused and looked around. The power returned immediately. He laughed quietly. Old wiring, he thought. But later, as he lay in bed, he heard something else, a soft sound far away, like water moving against stone, but not from the river. The sound came from the direction of the valley. It rose and fell, slow and careful, almost like voices, but not quite. The man sat up, he listened. The sound stopped. Silence returned, deeper than before. Over the next few days, small things happened. Nothing clear, nothing he could explain. Shadows moved where there should be none. Footprints appeared near the river and vanished by morning. Once, he found his tools moved from where he left them. Neatly placed, not stolen, that bothered him more than if they had been taken. At night, faint lights appeared near the river, blue and soft, like reflections, but there was nothing nearby that could cause them. The man felt no fear, only a growing sense of awareness. This land was not empty. One evening, he stood on the porch as the sun went down. The fog rolled in early, covering the valley. The river disappeared beneath it, and he saw them. 3 shapes, standing near the water, tall, still, and silent. Their outlines were human, but not fully. The fog shifted. For a brief second, light touched their skin. It shimmered, faintly, like metal underwater. The man's heart slowed, not from panic, but from understanding. These were not animals, not tricks of light, not his imagination. The shapes noticed him at the same time. They did not run, they did not attack. They simply watched him back. The moment stretched. Then the fog thickened, the shapes vanished. Melting into the mist and river, the man stood frozen. The world felt quiet again, but different now. That night, he did not sleep. He sat by the window, looking toward the river. Thinking, he realized something important. He had not discovered something new. He had moved into something old. The house was quiet because it had learned to be. The land was silent because it was hiding, and the man, without knowing it, had stepped into a place where humanity was not alone. The quiet house was not empty. It was waiting. And whatever lived near the river had noticed him. Morning came slowly to the valley. Soft light touched the hills. Fog still covered the river like a thin blanket. The man did not feel tired. He had not slept, but his mind was clear. The memory of the shapes near the river stayed sharp in his thoughts. He told himself to be careful. Not afraid, just careful, after a simple breakfast. He walked toward the river. Each step felt heavier than the last. Not from fear, but from expectation. The fog moved as he approached, pulling back slowly. As if the land itself was watching him, the river looked calm, too calm. Its surface was smooth, reflecting the pale sky. He knelt near the edge and studied the water. There were no ripples, no sound of animals, no birds. Then he saw it, a movement under the surface. Slow and controlled, not like a fish, not like flowing water. He held his breath, the water parted, just enough. A face appeared. It looked human, but not fully. The skin shimmered softly. Like light trapped beneath glass, the eyes were large and deep, reflecting colors he could not name. The man did not move. He did not speak. Another shape rose beside the first, then a third. 3 figures stood in the shallow water, their forms slim and tall, their movements careful and smooth. They watched him closely, not with fear, not with anger, but with sharp attention. For a long moment, no one moved. Then one of them stepped back. Slowly, the water closed around her legs without sound. The second followed, and the third. In seconds, the river was empty again. As if nothing had happened, the man finally exhaled. His hands were steady. His heart was calm. This was not an attack. This was not a threat. This was hiding. Over the next days, the man returned to the river. Always during daylight. Always alone. Sometimes he saw nothing. Sometimes he felt watched. Sometimes the water moved in ways that made no sense. He never chased, never shouted, never brought tools or weapons. He simply showed up at night. The lights near the river returned, soft blue glows beneath the surface. They pulsed slowly, like breathing. The man sat on his porch and watched from a distance. He made no move to approach. He wanted them to know one thing. He was not a danger. One evening, as the sun dropped behind the hills, a shape appeared on the riverbank. Only one this time. She stood still, her body half in shadow, half in fading light. The man stood as well, leaving space between them. She raised a hand, not a threat, not a signal of surrender, just a test. The man slowly raised his own hand in return. The moment felt fragile, like glass. The figure tilted her head, studying him closely, as if reading something deeper than his face. Then she spoke. The sound was soft, careful. The words broken and slow. Human, stay. Calm. The man nodded. I am calm, he said, keeping his voice low. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Not in anger, in surprise. More shapes appeared behind her. 2 more figures stepping into view. They whispered to each other, in a language the man could not understand. The sounds flowed like water, smooth and layered. Finally, the first one spoke again. River is not yours. The man shook his head gently. I know, he said. I just live nearby. Silence followed. Then she asked the question he did not expect. Human hunt us. It was not a question. It was a memory. The man felt the weight of it. He answered carefully, I am not here to hunt anyone. The figures exchanged looks. Uncertain, tired. He noticed something then. Their movements were slow, measured, as if they were conserving strength. They were not explorers. They were survivors. The first figure stepped back toward the water. His place hidden, she said. Your house breaks silence. The man understood. His arrival had changed the balance. Not by violence, but by presence. I can be quiet, he said. I can protect silence. The word protect made them pause. For the first time, the man saw something new in their eyes. Hope, without another word, they slipped back into the river, leaving the man alone again. But this time, the silence felt different. The secret of the river was no longer hidden from him, and he knew something else now. The quiet house had brought him here for a reason, and the river had accepted him as part of its secret. This was no longer just his home. It was a border between worlds. The man did not go to the river the next morning. He stayed inside the house. He wanted to show patience. If they were watching, he wanted them to see restraint. The day passed quietly. No lights in the water. No movement in the fog. When evening came, the man carried a small lamp and placed it near the porch. He did not point it toward the river. He left it facing the ground. A simple sign. He was not searching. He was waiting. The fog returned as the sky darkened. It rolled in slow and thick. The river disappeared once again. Then a shape formed at the edge of the mist. One figure, then another, then the third. They moved carefully, always watching the man, always keeping distance. The man stood still, his hands open. No tools, no weapons. One of them stepped forward. The same one who had spoken before. Her skin glowed faintly in the low light. Lines of soft color moved beneath the surface. Like living patterns. You did not come today, she said. Her voice slow, uncertain. The man nodded. I did not want to frighten you, he replied. She tilted her head, studying him. You are not afraid, she said. I am careful, the man answered. The other two whispered behind her, their voices low and flowing, the sound of a river over stone. Finally, she spoke again. We hide, she said. Others come to take. The man listened closely. He did not interrupt. They find us, she continued. They end worlds. The words were simple, but heavy. The man felt a chill, not from fear, from understanding. You are running, he said gently. She nodded once. Yes. The man thought for a moment. Then he made a choice. You can stay, he said. I will not tell anyone. The figures reacted at once. Tension ran through their bodies. Their eyes sharpened. Why? She asked. The man answered honestly. Because you need a place to live. The river fell silent. Even the insects stopped. The alien studied his face carefully, as if searching for lies, for hidden danger. You are human, she said. Humans take. Sometimes, the man replied. But sometimes we protect. The word protect lingered in the air. The alien stepped closer, close enough that the man could see fine details in her skin, tiny patterns shifting with her breath. Our kind trusted before, she said. They burned our cities. The man did not deny it. He did not argue. I cannot change that, he said. But I can choose what I do now. That answer surprised them. The two behind her exchanged quiet sounds. Faster now, urgent. The first alien raised her hand. She placed it lightly over her chest. I am called Sail, she said. The man nodded. My name is Daniel. Names change something. They always did. Sail looked toward the house. It is loud, she said. It draws eyes. I can make it quieter, Daniel replied. No lights at night, no signals. Sail considered this. We need time, she said, to heal, to rest. You have it, Daniel said. All of it. The river glowed faintly behind them. Soft pulses of light moving beneath the surface. The two other aliens stepped forward. Their fear still present, but weaker now. Sail spoke again. You stand alone, she said. Daniel smiled slightly. Yes, she watched him closely, then said the words that marked true first contact. If hunters come, she said, what will you do? Daniel did not hesitate. "I will stand," he said. The answer was simple. And because it was simple, it was powerful. Sail looked at him for a long time. Then she nodded. "Then we stay," she said. The river lights dimmed, the fog shifted. The valley breathed again. As they returned to the water, Sail paused. "Human," she said softly, "you are different." Daniel watched them disappear beneath the surface. His heart steady, his choice made, the quiet house was no longer just shelter. It had become a promise, and for the first time since arriving, Daniel understood the weight of that promise. The warning came without sound. The valley felt different before anything appeared. The air grew heavy. The fog froze in place. Even the river stopped moving. Daniel felt it in his chest. A pressure that did not belong to Earth. He stepped outside and looked up. The sky was wrong. High above the valley, the stars bent, light twisted in a sharp circle. Then the clouds split open. A shape descended slowly. Smooth and dark, too large to be human, too quiet to be natural, the ship hovered without noise. Casting a long shadow over the river, the water reacted instantly. Blue light flared beneath the surface. Fast and panicked, they were afraid. Daniel did not move. He did not run. He did not hide. The ship lowered further. Panels along its side opened like eyes. Cold light scanned the land. A voice followed, not loud, not emotional. Clear and sharp. Fugitives detected. Daniel's hands tightened at his sides. He felt small in that moment, but he stayed where he was. Figures rose from the river, Sail and the others. Their bodies tense, ready to flee. "They found us," Sail said, her voice steady. But her eyes burned with fear. Daniel turned to her. "Go," he said. "Hide deeper." She shook her head. "No more running," the ship reacted. A beam of light struck the ground near the river. Stone cracked, earth smoked. "Return property," the voice commanded. Daniel stepped forward, placing himself between the ship and the river. "There is nothing here for you," he said, his voice calm, even as his heart raced. The scanning light paused, then locked onto him. "Human presence irrelevant," the voice replied. "Step aside." Daniel did not move. Behind him, Sail spoke sharply. "Human." "Do not." Daniel raised one hand slightly. "Not in surrender, but in refusal. This is my land," he said. "They are not property." The ship lowered again. Close enough that heat pressed against Daniel's skin. "Human interference will result in termination," Daniel swallowed. Fear finally reached him, but he stood firm. "If you want them," he said, "you go through me." For a moment. Nothing happened. Then the valley lit up, the ship's weapons charged. Light gathering along its edges, Sail stepped closer to Daniel. Her voice low. "Why?" she asked. Daniel did not look back. "Because someone has to say no," he replied. The river flared bright blue. The water churned violently. Sail and the others reacted, their bodies glowing brighter than before. Energy pulsing through them. "Do not fight," Daniel said quickly. "You will die," Sail hesitated. Then understood, this was not a battle. This was a line. The ship fired, not at Daniel, but above him. The blast tore through the sky. A warning shot, power meant to break will. The shock wave knocked Daniel to one knee. His ears rang. The ground shook, but he did not fall. He looked up again. Slowly, deliberately. Still standing, the ship paused. Sensors adjusting, calculating. "Anomaly detected," the voice said. "Human resistance level inconsistent." Daniel laughed once. Short and breathless. "I told you," he said. "I am not moving." Behind him, Sail felt something shift. Not in the sky, but in herself. Humans were fragile. Yes, but they were stubborn. And sometimes that was enough. The ship began to rise, slowly, uncertain. The voice spoke one last time. This location marked, then the light vanished. The sky healed, the ship disappeared into nothing. Silence returned to the valley, heavy and shaking. Daniel finally collapsed onto the ground. Breathing hard, Sail knelt beside him, her eyes wide. "You stood," she said, almost to herself. Daniel looked at the dark sky. "Yes," he whispered. The threat was gone, for now, but the choice he made had been seen. And the universe would remember it. The valley stayed silent long after the ship was gone. No wind moved the trees. No sound came from the river. Daniel lay on the ground, staring at the sky. His body ached, but his mind was clear. Sail helped him sit up. Her touch was light. "Careful, as if he might break. You risked your life," she said. Her voice low, still full of disbelief. Daniel smiled weakly. "People do that sometimes," he replied. The other two emerged from the river. Their glow soft now, no longer sharp with fear. They looked at Daniel differently, not as a threat, not as a stranger, but as something new. One of them spoke quietly. "Hunters always win," she said. Until now, Daniel stood slowly, using the porch rail for support. "They will come back," he said. "I know," Sail nodded. "Yes," she agreed. "But not the same way." She explained what Daniel had changed. The hunters did not understand refusal. They did not understand sacrifice without gain. A single human standing in their path had created doubt. Doubt spread faster than fear. "The galaxy watches patterns," Sail said. "You broke one." Night deepened. Stars returned to their proper places. The river calmed. Sail turned toward the house. "It is small," she said, "but it is strong." Daniel followed her gaze. "It is just a house," he answered. She shook her head. "No," she said. "It is a boundary." In the days that followed, the valley changed, not in sound, but in feeling. The fog lifted more often. The river flowed brighter. Life returned slowly. Sail and the others no longer hid completely. They stayed close to the water. But they watched the house. Trust grew in small ways. Shared silence, simple gestures. Daniel turned off all outside lights at night. He avoided signals. He became part of the quiet. Messages traveled far beyond the valley. Not through words, but through observation. Other watchers noticed, some curious, some cautious. A place where humans did not take. A place where humans stood. One evening, Sail stood beside Daniel on the porch. "The hunters will report this world," she said. Daniel nodded. "I expected that. They will say humans are weak," she continued. Daniel smiled. "They always do," he said. Sail looked at him, her eyes reflecting the stars. "They will also say humans are dangerous." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Dangerous how?" she answered softly. "Because humans choose." The river glowed gently behind them, no longer hiding, just breathing. Sail placed her hand over her chest again, a sign of respect. "You gave us more than shelter," she said. "You gave us a future." Daniel felt the weight of that. He did not answer right away. "I just bought a house," he said finally. Sail smiled in a way that was almost human, and changed how the galaxy sees your kind, above them. The stars burned quietly, unmoved, yet watching. The valley was no longer empty. The house was no longer just quiet. It had become a signal, not of power, but of resolve. And somewhere far away, other minds would remember this place. A small house, a simple human, and the moment humanity refused to step aside,